Okay, hello everyone, and welcome back to Common English Mistakes. Don't just learn, improve. So today we're going to look at a common concept between movement verbs and their related go phrases. This is a situation where you want to make sure you use the right one to sound a lot more natural, even if the other isn't 100% wrong. So we'll look at what you should say in different situations, some more specific phrases and language with different verbs of movement, and finally, it's similar for food and drink. So we'll look at phrases related to those. So anyway, the mistake is up here. I usually walk on Saturday afternoon. So just pause the video and try to make the sentence more natural. And well done if you said, I usually go for a walk or maybe go for walks on Saturday afternoon. So the general concepts with walk and other verbs is that we just use the verb when there is a purpose and no fun, exercise or pleasure involved. So I walk to work, I walk to the supermarket. Whereas we use a phrase, go for plus a noun, when it's for exercise or pleasure. In this case, go for a walk or go for walks. If you're talking generally, I would use a plural phrase. I like to go for walks in the park. And if it's one specific walk, use a singular phrase. I went for a walk in the park. So that's the general concept. Verb for purpose, go for plus a noun phrase for exercise or pleasure. However, it doesn't always work like that. If you're talking about walking in a specific area, you can use the verb. For example, I like to walk in the park, absolutely fine. And then I often go for a walk, go for walks, or walk along the seafront. All of those are fine to talk about pleasure. Finally, if you have a dog, I often hear students say this, which again sounds very unnatural. Instead, use a phrase, walk the dog or walk your dog. I usually walk my dog in the morning. So that's for walk. It's the same for run. When running has a purpose, usually because you are late, just use the verb. You run to somewhere. I ran to school because I was late. And run for something, usually a piece of transport. I had to run for the bus. Then for exercise or pleasure, I'm sure you know the phrases go running or go jogging. Jogging's a little bit more relaxed, but essentially they mean the same thing. Then one specific run or action, go for a run, go for a jog. I went for a run, went for a jog in the park. For cycling, use the verbs cycle and bike if there is a purpose. Bike is a little bit more informal, but again, they're basically the same. Then with the go phrases, there is a little difference. Look at these sentences up here and see if you can think what the difference between go cycling and go for a bike ride is. And well done if you said you're going to use go cycling when it's more for exercise and faster. Whereas you use go for a bike ride, go for bike rides when it's more relaxing, slower, and more for pleasure. And just while we're here, this is a bicycle, but I would say these days that's quite an unnatural word to say. Myself, I would always say bike. I want to buy a new bike. So moving on, it's the same for drive. I drive to work, just the purpose, but if there's no direction and it's just for pleasure, go for a drive. If you have a motorbike, use the phrase ride a or your motorbike somewhere. I ride my motorbike to work and go for a ride if it's for pleasure. If you say that, I know in my head it's a motorbike, not a bicycle. So anyway, that's for verbs of movement. It's a similar thing with food and drink. Eat and drink, just talking generally, and then a more specific phrase with go. So firstly, just look at these three sentences here and see if you can think what go for a coffee, go for a drink, and go for a pint mean. First one's pretty obvious. How about the other two? And well done. If you said go for a coffee, means go somewhere, usually a cafe, and have a coffee. Go for a drink, same thing, but you're talking about alcohol. And go for a pint, a very British phrase to mean specifically go for a beer. American English, I guess you would say go for a beer. And then it's the same for food. Go for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, but then also specific things like a sandwich or a nice phrase, go for a bite to eat, meaning a small meal or portion of food. And if you're busy and don't have much time, a very nice natural collocation to use is grab plus whatever it is. Grab lunch, grab a sandwich, or grab a bite to eat. All very natural and a nice phrase to use. So anyway, explanation over. This isn't the kind of thing you're going to find in an English book. It comes from my real world experience in the classroom from actual English students. So if you want more common mistakes videos looking at problems that English learners like yourselves have, make sure to like, subscribe, and share the video with others. Would be much appreciated, guys. But anyway, when you're ready, let's practice and improve. Just pause the video and put an appropriate verb or phrase into these gaps. More than one option may be possible, but try to choose what's best. And remember, you may have to change the form of the verb ing, past, etc. And well done. If you said, do you want to go for a drink, beer, or pints in that bar over the road? I had to run for the last train, but I just made it. I often go for walks, go for a walk on the beach. Then we rented some bikes and went for a bike ride in the forest. Sometimes I go for a drive, go for a ride on a motorbike, go cycling on the mountain roads near my house. And when I'm hungry and I don't have much time, I grab a bite to eat, grab a sandwich, lots of options there. So now just pause the video and write, say, or discuss the same sentences for you. And finally, today's question. Where's a nice place to go for a bike ride that you know? So do write your answers in the comments, guys. Good opportunity to use a phrase which students often don't know. Anyway, that's basically it for today. Some quite simple phrases, but often I find even high-level students don't know specific ones. So do make sure to review them and you're going to sound much more natural in future. Other than that, I'll see you for another video next week. So until next time, see ya.